When rappers meet their crush and forget they're live on camera.
Videos and muscles. I'm on your ass.
Drake?
Oh my God, that was yours.
Yo.
This is my life.
She's someone I've been in love with since I was 22 years old.
Alicia Keys, back when you were just a fan.
I'm like, man, who's this light-skinned girl on the TV with these braids? Like, I'm in love. She's kind of close to my age. I'm 14. She's like 19.
Prepare to fill your cringe tank, because we are flying high today. There is something almost poetic about the fact that fame does not cure everything. You can sell out arenas. You can have your name tattooed on strangers' bodies. You can have billions of streams, a closet full of designer clothes, and a bank account that most people cannot even comprehend. And yet, the moment you walk into a room and see the person you had a poster of on your bedroom wall as a kid, your brain completely short circuits. Suddenly, you are not a Grammy-winning artist or a platinum-certified rapper. You are just a nervous kid again. Palms sweating, rehearsing what you were going to say, and then forgetting every single word the moment it actually matters.
I'm enjoying myself. This is a big change in my life. I'm just happy to be present with all of these beautiful people in here. You know, I want to thank Vivica Fox for wearing that dress
too. This is the magic of celebrity crushes. And more specifically, the magic of what happens when the people who have celebrity crushes on other celebrities finally come face to face with the object of their admiration. We are talking about some of the biggest names in hip-hop, artists who have shaped the sound of a generation, who have gone from dreaming in their bedrooms to performing on the world's biggest stages. And yet, every single one of them has that one person, that one celebrity who still makes them feel like a teenager all over again. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on those moments. The confessions, the revelations, the encounters that went sideways in the most entertaining ways possible. From rappers who admitted to childhood crushes they have been carrying for decades, to artists who found themselves completely starstruck the moment they came face to face with their idol.
Who was your first ever celebrity crush? I feel like you can learn a lot about someone with this one.
Oh, it's so embarrassing.
You don't have to answer that.
I shouldn't say it, right?
You can. Like, if it's not somebody in our, you know what I mean?
No, it can't be, because I was a kid.
Right.
I was gonna say it was Usher. I saw him at the Met Gala for the first time I ever seen him. I'm like, oh my God, it's him. He's beautiful, gorgeous man.
Some of these stories are heartwarming. Some are hilarious, and some are the kind of awkward that make you want to look away and then immediately look back again because you just cannot help yourself. So buckle up, because this is one ride through the intersection of fame, nostalgia, and the very human experience of having your heart skip a beat when you meet someone you have admired for years. Let's start with Jack Harlow. Now, if you know anything about Jack Harlow, you know that he has made an art form out of being charming. The Louisville, Kentucky native burst onto the mainstream scene with his smash hit What's Poppin' and has since cemented himself as one of the most likable and charismatic figures in modern hip-hop. He has a gift for conversation, a natural ease in front of a camera, and a confidence that makes everything look effortless. But even Jack Harlow, smooth, unflappable Jack Harlow, is not immune to the power of a childhood crush. The woman who owns that particular piece of his heart, Vanessa Hudgens.
My first crush was Vanessa Hudgens. I was in 5th grade. Yeah, she's just right up my alley. I would be a little nervous if I met Vanessa Hudgens just because the anticipation for me has been damn near 2 decades.
And before you say anything, yes, that tracks completely. Vanessa Hudgens spent the better part of the mid-2000s as the definitive object of affection for an entire generation of young people. Her breakout role as Gabriela Montez in Disney Channel's High School Musical made her a household name practically overnight. She was beautiful, talented, funny, and had this magnetic screen presence that was impossible to ignore. For an entire demographic of kids who grew up watching Disney Channel, Vanessa Hudgens was it.
Jack Harlow was no exception. He has spoken openly about the fact that his crush on Vanessa Hudgens dates back to the 5th grade, which, when you do the math, means he has been carrying that torch for the better part of 2 decades. That is a long time to admire someone from afar. That is longer than most careers, longer than most marriages. That is practically a lifestyle commitment. And Jack being Jack, he was refreshingly honest about the fact that even after all the success, all the fame, all the recognition, he would still be a little nervous if he ever actually came face to face with her. The anticipation had been building for nearly 20 years, and there is something almost overwhelming about the idea of finally meeting a person you have held in such high regard for so long. And then it actually happened. At the Met Gala in 2022, one of the most prestigious and high-profile events in the entertainment industry, Jack Harlow finally came face-to-face with Vanessa Hudgens.
Tell me about that.
Dark chocolate.
It looks amazing. You look fantastic. Now, your new album drops May 6th. What is different about creating this album compared to your first?
I think I just put a lot more, care and effort into this album. I think people will be able to feel my dedication.
The Met Gala, for those who may not know, is essentially the Super Bowl of fashion events, a star-studded annual fundraiser held at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City, where celebrities, designers, and cultural figures gather to celebrate fashion and art. It is a place where the biggest names in the world casually rub shoulders, and where absolutely wild encounters are practically a guarantee. For Jack Harlow, that wild encounter was the culmination of 2 decades of admiration finally meeting reality.
The meeting was everything you would hope for, and probably nothing like he imagined as a 5th grader. Here's this platinum-selling rapper, a man who has performed for thousands of screaming fans, who has sat across from the biggest interviewers in the industry, and he was standing in front of Vanessa Hudgens at the Met Gala. She looked incredible, dressed in dark chocolate Givenchy, and Jack Harlow, to his enormous credit, managed to hold it together. He told her she looked fantastic, he kept his composure, he remained charming. But you could tell, underneath all of that practiced cool, the 5th grade version of Jack Harlow was absolutely losing his mind. But Vanessa Hudgens was not the only name on Jack Harlow's childhood Hall of Fame. The man apparently had range even as a young boy, because he also opened up about another formative figure in his early years, and that figure is none other than Fergie, the iconic former lead singer of the Black Eyed Peas.
Jack Harlow recalled feeling attracted to Fergie at age 8 after watching her in music videos. He described it as an early awakening, showing how pop culture exposure shaped his awareness and perspective at a young age.
Now, Fergie, born Stacey Ann Ferguson, was one of the defining pop and hip-hop crossover stars of the mid-2000s. The Black Eyed Peas were everywhere, dominating radio, television, and party playlists with an infectious energy that felt completely inescapable. And then Fergie stepped out as a solo artist and took things to an entirely different level. Her 2006 solo debut, The Duchess, was an absolute cultural phenomenon. Songs like Glamorous, Big Girls Don't Cry, and Fergalicious were not just hits, they were moments, anthems that defined a whole era of popular music. Fergie had a charisma and a confidence that radiated off the screen, and it was the kind of presence that was hard to look away from, especially, apparently, if you were a young Jack Harlow sitting at home watching music videos. Jack has described Fergie as an awakening, and he said it with a kind of unflinching honesty that you have to respect, even if it makes the room go a little quiet. He was 8 years old, and he says that Fergie was the moment something clicked, not just musically, but in a deeper, more personal way that an 8-year-old probably does not have the vocabulary to fully explain.
Fergie has always been huge to me. I think I was young and I was 8 years old, but I was sexually attracted to her. She was an awakening for me, but also I love the music. Probably should have just said attracted.
What is remarkable is that both things were true for him simultaneously. He was genuinely drawn to the music itself, to the artistry and the energy of it, and also just deeply captivated by Fergie as a presence. That kind of early connection to music and to the artists making it is actually a very common thread in the origin stories of great musicians. Something pulls you in, the sound, the personality, the image, and suddenly you know this is the world you want to be a part of. That love for Fergie's music was so deep and so lasting that it shaped Jack Harlow's own artistry in a very tangible way. On his sophomore album, Come Home, The Kids Miss You, Jack Harlow sampled Fergie's Glamorous for the track Nail Tech, a choice that was clearly not just a creative decision, but also an act of tribute, an homage to the music that moved him as a child.
I heard a story that you once tried to perform Fergie at school, like at a talent show?
There was a talent show when I was in 5th grade. I tried to do Fergalicious.
It's a true story, true story. And, you know.
And when asked point blank whether he would ever want to actually collaborate with Fergie for real, Jack did not hesitate. If they could do it right, absolutely yes. Because for Jack Harlow, Fergie is not just a childhood memory. She is a musical legend worthy of real, genuine artistic collaboration. Now, we move to someone whose celebrity crush is perhaps the most unexpected, most delightfully surprising, and most perfectly on-brand revelation you will hear in this entire video. Ladies and gentlemen, Doja Cat, one of the most eclectic, genre-defying, boundary-pushing artists of her generation, had a childhood celebrity crush on Jim Carrey. Let that land for a moment. Jim Carrey, the rubber-faced comedic genius, the man who turned his entire body into a performance art piece, the actor whose face became a national landmark of pure, unfiltered expressiveness. When you think about it though, and we mean really think about it, it actually makes complete sense. Doja Cat is herself a performer who refuses to be put in a box. She is theatrical, larger than life, unpredictable, and deeply committed to the kind of full-body artistic expression that most artists only dream of achieving. Jim Carrey is exactly the same way. The man has never done anything halfway in his entire career. From his early days on In Living Color to his iconic turns in Ace Ventura, The Mask, Dumb and Dumber, and The Truman Show, Jim Carrey has always operated at a frequency that most people cannot even tune into, let alone replicate. He is funny in a way that is almost physically overwhelming, the kind of funny that grabs you by the collar and will not let go. For a young Doja Cat, watching Jim Carrey do his thing was apparently electric in a way she did not fully understand at the time, but could feel in her gut. There was something about that energy, that wild, unbothered, completely fearless commitment to being absolutely unhinged in the most brilliant way possible that just turned something on inside her. She has described it as being hooked, unable to look away, drawn to that chaotic frequency in a way that felt bigger than just finding something funny. It was attraction in the truest sense, a recognition of a kindred creative spirit.
Have you met your childhood celebrity crush yet? You know how as being younger we always have that one?
No, I have not met Jim Carrey yet.
What was it? Was it the laughter, the humor, what he did with his hollering? You know what I'm saying? Like,
he would just always be doing something crazy and I'd be like hooked to it. And I don't know. Something about that energy just turns me on like crazy.
And here's the thing. As of the time of this video, Doja Cat has still not met Jim Carrey, which means somewhere out there, this meeting has not happened yet. And honestly, the world deserves to see it. Because if there is any celebrity encounter that has the potential to redefine what human interaction looks like, it is Doja Cat finally coming face to face with the man who has lived rent-free in her head since childhood. Whatever happens in that meeting, it will absolutely not be boring. If you want to talk about a truly jaw-dropping moment of reveal, look no further than Offset and his very unexpected, very secret crush on Sabrina Carpenter. Now, Offset, born Kiari Kendrell Cephas, is one of the founding members of Migos, the Atlanta rap trio that fundamentally changed the sound and flow of hip-hop in the 2010s. With Quavo and Takeoff, Offset helped create a style of music that was so distinctive and so widely imitated that entire generations of rappers owe a stylistic debt to what Migos pioneered. He is also, by any reasonable measure, one of the most stylistically distinctive and culturally impactful figures in the game. Sabrina Carpenter, on the other hand, started her career as a Disney Channel actress before transitioning into a music career that has grown into something genuinely remarkable. Her pop sensibility, her wit, and her undeniable charisma have helped her carve out a lane that is completely her own. And in more recent years, she has become one of the most talked about and celebrated figures in mainstream pop music. She is funny, she is sharp, she is fiercely talented, and she has a presence that is impossible to ignore. Now here is where the story gets truly wild. During an interview, Offset was asked about his celebrity crush, and rather than just coming out and saying it, he chose to keep it close to his chest. He admitted there was someone. He admitted it was a female artist. He admitted she did not know. He gave away just enough: her music, her stage presence, her voice, and then, in a moment of almost supernatural interviewer intuition, the name Sabrina Carpenter was dropped. And the look on Offset's face was absolutely priceless. He was floored. He could not understand how anyone could have known. He had never told anyone. He had never written it down.
He had never let it slip in any conversation, in any interview, in any private moment. And yet, there it was, his deepest secret, laid out in front of him like it had been common knowledge all along. The combination of disbelief, embarrassment, and genuine shock on his face was one of the most entertaining and authentically human things you will ever see from a major rap star. Because that is what celebrity crushes do to even the most guarded people. They have a way of finding the light.
Who's also got a crush on?
I got a crush on,
What? What, Lil Sabrina? She cool.
I like her music.
Oh, you talking about Sabrina Carpenter?
I like her music, yeah.
Okay.
She cool. If you listen to her show, look how her music.
That's not the first time you said that.
Next up, we have one of the most refreshingly genuine and wholesome celebrity crush confessions in recent hip-hop history, courtesy of Ice Spice. The Bronx-born rapper burst onto the scene in 2022 with a sound and a style that was completely her own. An effortlessly cool blend of drill beats, understated bars, and an aesthetic that felt both deeply New York and entirely original. In a very short amount of time, Ice Spice became one of the most talked about, most imitated, and most celebrated new voices in the game. And through all of that rapid ascent to fame, she has managed to stay remarkably grounded, honest, and real.
So who was Ice Spice's childhood celebrity crush? Usher. And before you say, of course, because it really is of course, consider for a moment just how massive Usher was for an entire generation of young people growing up in the 2000s. Raymond Ivey, known simply as Usher, has been one of the defining figures of R&B for over 3 decades. His albums Confessions and 8701 are widely considered among the greatest R&B records ever made. His music videos were events, his live performances were masterclasses, and his personal charisma, that warm, magnetic, effortlessly cool energy, was the kind of thing that made everyone feel like he was singing directly to them. For Ice Spice, Usher was not just a celebrity crush. He was apparently quite significant in a way she found a little embarrassing to admit out loud, but admitted anyway, because that is just who she is. Honest, authentic, unapologetically herself. And then, in a moment that felt almost like the universe was paying very close attention, she ended up at the Met Gala and saw him in person for the very first time. And by her own account, it was everything. She described him as gorgeous, beautiful, and the way she talked about finally seeing him in person, after all those years of having him on a pedestal in her mind, had a genuine sweetness to it. The kind of wide-eyed wonder that fame does not really take away from a person who has stayed true to themselves. Now, not every story in this video is going to follow the expected formula, because then we get to Lil Baby. And Lil Baby, to put it plainly, plays by his own rules. Dominique Armani Jones, known professionally as Lil Baby, is one of the most commercially successful rappers of the past decade.
From the streets of Atlanta to the top of the charts, Lil Baby proved that anything is possible when you bet on yourself. He turned pain into platinum hits, struggle into success, and became the voice of a generation. Whether it's Drip Too Hard or The Bigger Picture, he's more than a rapper. He's a movement. Lil Baby didn't just make it out. He made it to the top, and he's not stopping anytime soon.
His rise from the streets of Atlanta to the top of the charts is the kind of story that feels almost cinematic. A man who came from genuinely difficult circumstances and turned raw talent and relentless work ethic into a career that has made him one of the most streamed artists in the world. When asked about his childhood celebrity crush, Lil Baby gave an answer that was as honest and as perfectly him as anything he has ever said in an interview. He claims he didn't really have one, not because he wasn't noticing girls, far from it, but because, by his account, the real girls in his actual neighborhood were simply more compelling to him than anything he was seeing on the television screen. In Lil Baby's world, the women on TV were not setting the standard. The women he grew up around were. That is not false modesty. That is not deflection. That is a man telling you exactly who he is and where he comes from, with the same directness that has always characterized everything about him. He also offered some insight into what actually attracts him to someone, and it was remarkably thoughtful. For Lil Baby, physical appearance is secondary to the ability to connect on a mental level, to actually hold a conversation, to kick it, to have a real exchange with someone. He can work with physical features, he says, but what he really needs is that mental and emotional connection. Coming from someone whose public persona can sometimes be mistaken for detachment or aloofness, it was a genuinely revealing moment, a window into a more thoughtful and emotionally intelligent side of an artist who often lets his music do the heavy lifting in terms of emotional communication. And now things take a wonderfully chaotic turn, because we need to talk about T Grizzley and his very public declaration of love for Nicki Minaj, made not in a carefully crafted social media post, not in a polished interview setting, but in the middle of a game of beer pong. Because why not? T Grizzley, the Detroit rapper known for his raw storytelling and his authentic depictions of life in one of America's most challenging cities, has never been a man who does things halfway. His debut single, First Day Out, recorded just days after he was released from prison, became a cultural moment almost immediately, and his career since then has been a testament to the power of absolute authenticity. So it is entirely in character that when T Grizzley decided to come clean about his crush, he did it in the most unfiltered, most spontaneous, most beer pong adjacent way possible. The name he dropped, Nicki Minaj.
Loved him. I loved him. And I was like, first of all, it felt surreal, but I just was like, where else would be, like, where could be more perfect for me to be? You know, like, to me, he was like that new young energy.
And if we are being real, Nicki Minaj as a celebrity crush is a choice that makes complete sense for a rapper of T Grizzley's generation. Nicki Minaj, born Onika Tanya Mirage, is quite simply one of the most dominant forces in the history of hip-hop. Full stop. She broke barriers that did not even fully exist yet, carved out space in a genre that was not always welcoming to women, and did it all with a level of skill, charisma, and creative range that left the entire industry speechless.
For an entire generation of hip-hop fans, Nicki Minaj was and continues to be an icon of the highest order. Her alter egos, her flows, her dribbles, her fashion, her business acumen. Everything about Nicki has always operated at an elite level. So when T Grizzley, cup in hand, in the middle of a game that was not going his way, decided to put his business in the street and announce to the world that Nicki Minaj was his person, that was not embarrassing. That was brave. Wonderfully, chaotically, beer pong game brave. And he even made sure to note, with the kind of disclaimers that only make the whole thing more endearing, that this was before the relationships. This was a crush from the era of fandom, before either of their lives became what they are today. Now we arrive at one of the most genuinely stunning and emotionally resonant entries on this entire list, because Chance the Rapper's story is not about a crush he admitted to in an interview or confessed to in a casual setting. Chance's story is about the moment his crush became reality, live and unscripted in a way that left him absolutely undone. And the object of his admiration? Beyonce, which, when you think about it, is the only answer that could possibly make someone react the way Chance the Rapper reacted. Beyonce Giselle Knowles Carter needs very little introduction, but let us be real for a second about exactly what kind of cultural monolith we are dealing with here. Beyonce is not just a pop star. She is not just an entertainer. She is a generational force, an artist whose impact on music, visual culture, performance, fashion, and the very concept of what a modern entertainer can be is so vast and so profound that it is genuinely difficult to put into words. For her days with Destiny's Child, to her extraordinary solo career, to the visual albums that redefined what the format could accomplish, to performances that people genuinely talk about for years afterward, Beyonce operates at a level that feels almost separate from the rest of the industry. Chance the Rapper, Chancellor Jonathan Bennett, the Chicago-born artist who changed independent music forever with his groundbreaking mixtape coloring book, is by any measure one of the most talented and visionary artists of his generation. He has collaborated with Kanye West, performed at the Grammy Awards, and used his platform to do genuine good in his hometown of Chicago. He is not someone who easily loses his composure. And yet, when he came face to face with Beyonce in the kind of unscripted real-life moment that you cannot plan for and cannot prepare for, the reaction was pure, unfiltered human emotion, the kind that bypasses all of your defenses and comes straight from the gut. His response to the encounter was simple, direct, and completely overwhelmed. That happened. This is my life. 4 words that said everything. Because when you have admired someone for as long as Chance had admired Beyonce, and then you are suddenly standing in the same physical space as that person, talking to them, existing in their orbit, it does something to you that no amount of preparation or experience can really cushion you against. It is proof that even the most accomplished, the most talented, the most self-possessed among us
still have that one person who can turn them right back into a starstruck kid. Most entries on this list follow a fairly predictable emotional arc. Rapper has a crush, rapper meets crush, rapper loses their composure. But Quavo's story flips the entire script, because Quavo is not here to tell you about someone he has a crush on. Quavo is here to make the very bold, very confident, very Quavo suggestion that someone has a crush on him. And that someone is Nicki Minaj. Yes, you read that correctly. Quavo, born Quavius Kayate Marshall, has always carried himself with an almost supernatural level of self-assurance. As one-third of Migos and as a solo artist, he has developed a persona that is cool almost to the point of being untouchable, radiating the kind of confidence that comes from knowing exactly who you are and being completely unbothered by anyone who might disagree. So when the conversation turned to a Nicki Minaj song that seemed to contain some pointed references in his direction, some jabs, some feelings, some very specific lyrical receipts, Quavo's read on the situation was not defensive. It was not confused. It was simple. She likes me.
Nicki or Cardi B?
I'm gonna say Nicki.
Yeah, see, I was gonna say the same thing though. That's crazy.
So you said Nicki?
Yeah.
Now, the song in question featured what many listeners interpreted as shade. Lyrics that seemed to be directed at Quavo in a way that was pointed enough to be intentional and specific enough to be personal. For most people, being referenced that way in a Nicki Minaj song might be cause for concern, or at least some self-reflection. For Quavo, it was confirmation of romantic interest. His logic was impeccable in the way that only the very confident can pull off. She said, I hurt her feelings, therefore she cares, therefore it means something. And when pushed on whether he had actually asked Nicki about any of this, Quavo's response was equally Quavo. He was going to figure it out in his own time, on his own terms, because that is just how Quavo operates. And now we arrive at perhaps the most romantically ambitious, most charmingly misguided, and most deeply relatable entry on this entire list. J. Cole and his teenage obsession with Alicia Keys. Jermaine Lamar Cole, known professionally as J. Cole, is widely regarded as one of the most thoughtful, most lyrically gifted, and most introspective rappers of his generation. His discography is essentially a masterclass in storytelling, emotional intelligence, and the kind of deeply personal writing that makes listeners feel like he is somehow narrating their own life experiences back to them. He is the kind of artist who thinks before he speaks, chooses his words carefully, and does not do anything with intention.
And then there is the Alicia Keys story, which is frankly the most human and least J. Cole-like thing we have ever heard from the man, and we love him more for it. The year was 1999. J. Cole was 14 years old. Alicia Keys had just burst onto the music scene with a grace and a talent that felt almost otherworldly. Her debut album, Songs in a Minor, released a couple of years later in 2001, would go on to become one of the best-selling debut albums in history, and her single Fallen was already making waves before the album even dropped. Alicia Keys was young, brilliant, beautiful, and she played the piano with a kind of mastery that made you stop whatever you were doing and just listen. For a 14-year-old J. Cole watching her on television, it was love. Complete, total, immediate, consuming love. And what did he do about it? He did what any deeply romantic, slightly unhinged 14-year-old would do. He went to one of her concerts and waited at the back of the venue, because he reasoned with the unshakable logic of a teenager that she would have to come out through the back when the show was over. And when she did, because of course she would, he was going to be standing there, and she was going to look his way, and something magic was going to happen. He had the whole thing planned out, not down to the last detail exactly. He was 14, not a Hollywood screenwriter, but he had the broad strokes. He would be there. She would see him. He would give her a look. The look would communicate everything words could not. And from there, the story would write itself, because she was only about 5 years older than him. And 5 years is nothing really when you are 14 and absolutely certain that love knows no age gap. It could work. It absolutely could work.
Whether it worked or not, whether Alicia Keys emerged from that venue and locked eyes with a love-struck teenager named Jermaine Cole is not something that history has recorded. What we do know is that J. Cole eventually became one of the most respected and celebrated rappers in the world, and that Alicia Keys went on to become a living legend in her own right.
and neither of them has ever publicly addressed the great back-of-the-venue incident of 1999. Some love stories, perhaps, are better left to the imagination. And finally, we come to the entry that might be the most emotionally layered, the most complicated, the most publicly documented, and the most talked about celebrity crush in the history of modern hip-hop. Drake and Rihanna. Aubrey Drake Graham, born in Toronto, Ontario, introduced to the world as Jimmy Brooks on Degrassi, and now widely acknowledged as one of the best-selling music artists of all time, has been remarkably open over the years about the fact that Robin Rihanna Fenty holds a very specific and very special place in his heart. And not just as a collaborator, not just as a friend, and not just as a colleague, but as someone he has genuinely, deeply, sincerely loved. Rihanna, of course, is one of those rare cultural figures who transcends the word famous so completely that it almost seems inadequate to describe her. Born in Barbados, she rose to global superstardom with a string of hits that are now permanently embedded in the cultural fabric of the early 21st century. Umbrella, We Found Love, Diamonds, Work, and dozens of others that have become the soundtrack to a generation. She has reinvented her sound multiple times, launched one of the most successful beauty brands in history with Fenty Beauty, built a lingerie empire with Savage X Fenty, and delivered a Super Bowl halftime performance that the world will be talking about for decades. She is, in the most complete sense of the phrase, a living legend.
Drake has spoken about his feelings for Rihanna with a sincerity and a vulnerability that is rare from any artist, let alone one of the most commercially successful rappers in the world. He has said publicly that he has been in love with her since he was 22 years old, that she is one of his closest friends in the world, that even though she is younger than him, he has looked up to her his entire adult life, that she is a living, breathing legend in their industry. These are not the words of someone making a calculated public statement. These are the words of a man who is genuinely, completely in awe of another human being, and who has been brave enough to put that into words in front of the entire world. The Drake and Rihanna saga is one of the most discussed and dissected celebrity relationships in modern entertainment history, a series of collaborations, rumor romances, public declarations, and complicated feelings that has played out over the course of more than a decade. They have made music together. They have supported each other publicly. They have been linked romantically on multiple occasions. And through all of it, Drake's admiration for Rihanna has remained one of the most consistent and most genuine constants in an industry where consistency and genuineness are not always easy to come by. So what do we take from all of this? What do these stories, from Jack Harlow's 5th grade obsession with Vanessa Hudgens to Drake's decades-long admiration for Rihanna, actually tell us about the people who have shaped the sound of modern music? What they tell us more than anything else is that fame is not a cure for being human. No matter how many records you sell, how many awards you win, or how many people scream your name in an arena, you are still, underneath it all, a person who grew up somewhere. A person who watched TV and listened to music and felt something when a certain song came on or when a certain face appeared on screen. A person who had heroes and idols and the kind of feelings that do not really go away no matter how many years pass or how much your life changes. These celebrity crush confessions are not just entertaining, though they absolutely are that. They are also windows into the origin stories of some of the greatest artists of their generation. Jack Harlow's obsession with Fergie's music contributed in a very real and very tangible way to the sound that ended up on one of his biggest albums. Doja Cat's wild, unbounded attraction to Jim Carrey's chaotic energy is a direct reflection of the wild, unbounded creative energy she herself brings to her art. J. Cole waiting outside a concert venue at 14 because he believed with his whole heart that love could find a way? That is the same romantic idealism that powers some of the most emotionally resonant music of his career. And there is something deeply reassuring about all of it. In a world where celebrities can often seem untouchable, where the gap between the artists we admire and the ordinary experiences of everyday life can feel enormous, these moments close that gap completely. Because the image of Ice Spice seeing Usher in person and whispering, "Oh my God, it's him," to herself, is the same feeling every single person watching this video has felt at some point in their life. The image of Chance the Rapper standing in front of Beyonce and being reduced in the best possible way to 4 words, "That happened. This is my life," is the kind of reaction that lives in all of us. So the next time you see your favorite rapper on stage, commanding thousands of people, looking completely in control of their entire universe, just remember,
somewhere underneath all of that, there was a version of them that is still standing at the back of a concert venue at 14 years old, waiting for a girl who plays piano to walk out the door and change their life. And that is not a weakness. That is the most beautiful kind of human thing there is.